Hello there, and welcome to this edition of Wake Up and Live with the Arts. I'm Sue Johnson, your host, along with James McElbray, our videographer, and we are delighted to be here at the Cleveland Playhouse again, where we are going to talk, to begin with Colleen Longshaw. She's the care coordinator, one of the many education programs that Cleveland Playhouse is responsible for. So with that, let me introduce to you Colleen Longshaw. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, how are you? I'm doing well.
And you are you called director of, manager of the special program you're going to tell us about?
Well, I'm actually, right now, I'm the care coordinator.
Okay.
And so I am a teaching artist of sorts. And I teach the care program at Robert H. Jameson School.
Okay.
The care program, as many of you know, is a program that was funded by the Department of Education. So Cleveland Playhouse received a grant, a substantial grant, to create this program. And it stands for Compassionate Arts Remaking Education.
So we're putting arts in the schools
Oh, absolutely.
again?
We are.
Wow.
I mean, at Cleveland Playhouse, we have 10 programs, 10 education programs that serve our community theatrically in some way by infusing arts into our community. We are really excited about them. We serve over 35,000 students annually, and when you add in the parents and the teachers and the adults, that's another 10,000.
Wow.
So we are really immersed in the community. The program that I am part of, CARE, is a social emotional learning program. So our goal and our challenge to ourselves was to increase social emotional learning competencies and English language arts scores. And we do that with theater programming. So we teach a class. We're in the schools. We teach every student in the building. I have my own classroom within the school. There are 4 of us currently. We're at 4 of the schools in CMSD. We're all in CMSD.
Okay.
And we touch every student in the building.
Good. Now, can you say which 4 schools your program is?
I am in Robert H. Jameson.
Yes.
And
well, they used to call it junior high. What is it now? Middle school?
Well, it's elementary. They're all K-8
it's
schools.
It's all K through 8. Okay.
Well, pre-K through 8.
Okay.
In our building. So we're in K-8 school. We're in Marion Sterling.
Yes.
We're in Bolton and Benish.
And all of those are kind of neighborhood schools in relationship to the Cleveland Playhouse.
Exactly. The 3 of them, Marion Sterling, Bolton, and Benish, are in this neighborhood. I am out in the 146 in Harvard.
That's not quite the Lee Harvard in Mount Pleasant area, I think, of
there.
town.
But that's the neighborhood that we're in where CARE is concerned.
Okay.
But with some of our other programs, we're in other schools. We're in Elmira on the west side. We're in Kenneth Clement Boys Academy. We're at Adlai Stevenson.
Sure.
Also in the Lee Harvard area near my school. So we are spread out throughout our community quite vastly.
And how long is the grant in effect? 2-3 years?
It was a 4-year grant.
4-year grant.
And we actually concluded our last year of teaching, and we were able to secure funding to remain in the schools. We've made such an impact in the community that we've done a lot to make sure that we could stay in our schools past our grant period. And that's what a lot of our efforts are going towards, to make sure that we can continue to serve those communities beyond the grant life.
Let me ask you, what would be a typical classroom activity or exercise or learning skill in one of your day's work?
Okay, well, it varies because I teach K-8, but I'll give you an example in our middle school classes, something we're really proud of. When we first started this venture, it was difficult for us to find age-appropriate, culturally appropriate material to use. And so we commissioned well-known playwrights to commission a series of monologues that we use in our middle school classrooms. So we would come in and we would pick an emotional unit. Let's say we're doing a unit on fear and how to navigate through fear and anxiety. So they come in, we talk about that. We'll ask them a question about a time where they felt fear or, anxiety or anything like that. We'll show them a monologue, and then we'll follow this character's journey through dealing with what their issues are. And then by that way, we share as a class. They get opportunities to perform. They can really stand out in the ways that they're in their strengths. And we challenge them to do some things that they've never done before. But what it really does is it gives them a language to be able to articulate how they feel, and management tips on how to handle fear and anxiety. I mean, when we're talking about, we're not just talking about outside factors, all the testing that our students are enduring.
Oh, God,
the level
yes.
of anxiety that they feel around testing alone,
yes,
you could write books about. And we really talk about that. They can come in and say, oh, we're stressed out about this test. We don't know that we can do it. Self-efficacy is huge. We want to teach them that they can, but how do you deal with those feelings in the moment? So our classes are quite interesting. They get to use drama to do it. It's a lot easier to use somebody else's story and then tell yours. It creates a safe space. They find things that they have in common, and then they come up with ways, and they help each other to learn how to deal with the things that they encounter.
Okay, now is there, like at the end of the course, is there like a total group performance or activity to showcase what they have learned, and parents and community come in and see it?
Well, it depends. It varies by school. I know at my school we have shares, is what we call them. Well, we let select students come up and perform some things that they've created in class, or perform some of the monologues they've seen, and we have them throughout the year. So it's not one big culminating performance. We decide. Last year I did 2 shares, and parents, community members, staff at the school, they come out and they're really impressed. They get to share in a way that they haven't before. Some of them write their own poems. Some of them perform some of the monologues we've done. We have a vast array of different performance aspects that they get to share. And it's just so exciting.
Okay. And it's been exciting chatting with you today. Now, if a parent wants to get more information about the CARE program, and especially if they're in one of the schools, what phone number or email address can they contact you for more information about your CARE and the other programs? If
they contact Cleveland Playhouse, they will have information and they'll be in touch with all our programs. If their child attends a school where we are in the school, they get us, because we do see every kid in the building. But like I said, some of our other after school programs are throughout our other schools. We've launched our CPH Theater Academy, so we have classes here at the Playhouse for all age groups, and they're not just the CARE program. There's all types of theater for all age groups. So we've got something for everybody. So if you visit this Cleveland Playhouse website or call Cleveland Playhouse directly, you can get anything you need.
Sounds wonderful. And if you call the Cleveland Playhouse directly, dial 216-241-6000. And you might ask for Colleen Longshaw to start with, and then she'll be happy to direct you to the appropriate education department. And I'm so happy to learn that Cleveland Playhouse has so much community involvement.
Oh, yes.
And, you guys are expanding your programs, services daily.
We really are. That's the best way to put it. There's such a great need, and we have the ability to meet that need, and we are excited to be immersing ourselves in the community, because as much as we give to a community, we get.
Of course.
So it's definitely a reciprocal relationship, so it's very exciting.
Okay, and we want to thank Colleen. It's my first time meeting her, and she is a delightful education person, I should say. And I relate because I used to be a high school, John Adams High classroom teacher, and in English, and I love the arts, of course. And so with that, we want to thank you for watching. And remember, for more information about any of the education programs, 216-241-6000, or the website, www.clevelandplayhouse.org. Thanks for tuning in, and don't go away, because we've got 2 special guests coming up right now. Hello there, and we are all about to sweat. This is the upcoming play at the Cleveland Playhouse, which will be opening soon in October the 13th. And we have 2 of the main actors in this production I'd like to introduce to you. And I'm going to try very hard to say Nehassaiu, deGannes. Nehassaiu. I love that name. And of course, if you look carefully through your lens, you'll know it's Jimmie Woody.
She pronounced that very well.
So Nehassaiu, tell us about Sweat and your role in it.
Oh, Sweat is a wonderful ensemble drama.
Yes.
It's set in the Rust Belt. It is very relevant and resonant.
Mm-hmm.
The play moves back and forth between the year 2000 and 2008. It's about a group of people, deep, deep friendships, family members who work in the plants. Most of us work at Olmsted's, which is a steel mill.
Okay.
Jimmy, who plays my husband in the show.
Oh, God help you.
He works at another plant, Clemens Technologies. And when the play opens in 2000, he's been locked out.
Okay.
For 93 weeks.
Yeah.
So your husband, and what character is your name?
I'm playing Brucey.
Brucey has been locked out 93 weeks, and as we were saying, 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing with yourself during that time?
Well, that's the interesting part where I come in, because I've been locked out and I've been walking the line. And, the play deals with pressures and outside and internal pressures. And I don't want to give away what's going on in it, but my character kind of succumbs to some of the unfortunate realities that people go through when they've been locked out for over a year.
And so what you'll want to do, audience, is make sure you call 216-241-6000 to get tickets for this play, which runs from October 13th to November 4th, to find out what the heck Brucey's been doing in this play, and his poor wife, and your character name is? Cynthia.
We also have a son, Chris.
Okay.
Played by Brooks Brantley.
Okay.
And Chris is 21. He's working at the plant where I work, Olmsted's, and he's just been accepted into university, which is very exciting. The sense is that he would be a first-generation college student. I've worked at Olmsted's for 24 years. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about a time when people who worked at these plants could make a good living.
Oh, yes.
Could have a middle-class lifestyle. We own our own home. We've raised this child. But it's hard work.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But this is also, Lynn Nottage, the playwright.
Yes.
Reading, Pennsylvania, and conducted interviews over a 2-year period. So it's rooted in real-life stories of white folk, black folk, Latinx folk, living and working in these towns, and what happens as the economy begins to shift, as these jobs begin to go overseas, as NAFTA comes into play.
Of course.
And how does a community cope? How do they survive? And what happens, Jimmie was speaking about those outside pressures, how they affect the individual, but also how it affects the family fabric.
Oh, yes.
The fabric of friendships.
And you're from Cleveland, so you're familiar when we used to have Republic Steel, Alcoa. So we have a very similar story. Yeah.
I was just about to say, to add on to what Nehassaiu was saying, is about, like, for me, and we've talked about it, it's a Cleveland story.
Yes.
No, it takes place in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's like for us that are Clevelanders and people that live in Detroit and live in Flint, this story speaks so much to us.
Yes.
And even though it takes place in Pennsylvania, it's something that everybody can relate to, that are manufacturers and work in cities where there are lockouts and their jobs are being threatened to be outsourced overseas.
Don't you just love that with our country? We're still doing it. Yeah.
And just how working class people deal with these kind of challenges and how they get through them or how they succumb to them.
Of course. And in terms of actors involved in this project, Cleveland story, but translated into Reading by Lynn Nottage, the playwright. We have one of the things I'm enjoying is the fact that there are several local actors in addition to Jimmie. We've got Bob Ellis and Chris Sievert, to name a couple, and then Robert Barry Fleming, who we interviewed a while back, is the associate artistic director, and he plays a character. What is his character?
He plays Evan, a parole officer.
Oh, my. Okay. And Chris and Bob, do you know what they play yet?
Oh, yeah. Bob plays Stan. He's the guy that works behind the bar where the central action takes place.
Okay.
And then do you want to say?
Yeah, Chris Siebert plays one of my best friends. I'm best friends with Tracy, and Chris's character's name is Jesse, and we have a tight friendship. We've been best friends for years. They stand by me as our family is going through, a crisis, and but she has also experienced some recent hardship. Her ex-husband has remarried. Some of this action happens before the play opens,
Sure.
but there's a suggestion that maybe he had been cheating on her, but how is she dealing with that grief?
Yeah.
And as Jimmie mentioned, a lot of the action of the play happens at our local watering hole, where we go to blow off steam, where we go to celebrate birthdays, where we go after a long day.
Where everybody knows my name.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the backstory on all of these characters and the situation will come out, in the production, which we want to encourage you to please support this Cleveland Playhouse production, which has, like I say, is featuring several local actors. Now, Nehassaiu, you're from...
I'm based in New York now.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in Brooklyn currently.
Is that your native home?
It's not home. My family moved around quite a bit when I spent some time in Canada when I was really little, living in a small town on the shores of Lake Huron.
Okay.
So I have Great Lakes, energy in me. And my mom currently lives in Toronto. My brother lives in D.C. with his family. And I trained at Trinity Rep and Brown in Providence.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, after this project, do you have something lined up? Will you be...
I have a couple of things lined up in the winter that I don't want to say quite yet because I don't think official announcements have been made.
But we want to welcome you to Cleveland along with you, darling. Now, I know you're always busy. Good Lord, child.
Oh.
What do you have coming up after this?
Well, a couple things. One, I'm doing a collaboration with WKYC in a high school that I teach at, Cleveland High School for Digital Arts.
That's a new school to me.
Yeah, that's a new school right across the street from WKYC. It's like the digital arts version of the School of the Arts. And we're doing a collaboration for Black History Month. And then also I'm directing the lower depths at the University of Akron.
Okay.
So those two things.
Just those two things. Just toss them off.
Small, minor things.
Little projects.
Yeah.
But there's paychecks involved. That's the important thing. If you're a working actor, hopefully you will get a paycheck. So we want to thank our guest this afternoon, Jimmie Woody, a Cleveland standard, if you will, and Nehassaiu deGannes, whose name, I have to speak to her mom and dad about that name. Yes.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say, I give a lot of thanks and appreciation to Laura Kepley because she's done
artistic director
and director. Did a great job of getting together a wonderful cast.
Great. So you took away what I was going to say. Well, I took away from yours with the Republic Steel. Yes, we've had Laura on the show before, too, and she is a marvelous individual and artist and actor herself. So I'm sure you will enjoy this production, which tells the story of what goes on in Reading, Pennsylvania, also known as the Rust Belt area. I think Cleveland was part of that general Rust Belt concept way back when. So we want to invite you to attend that. And the phone number, again, is 216-241-6000 for tickets. And we hope that you will call and support this project, along with everything else that Cleveland Playhouse is doing. You just met Colleen Longshaw from the Education Department, where Cleveland Playhouse is out into the community doing many things, and the fact that Cleveland Playhouse is using more local talent, which is marvelous for us locals, people, and there are many more in the cast, but two Clevelanders, Chris Siebert, Bob Ellis, and we want to give another shout out to Robert Barry Fleming, who is acting, and he's also the Associate Artistic Director here at Cleveland Playhouse. So you guys it's 1 o'clock or 2 minutes after. You're due for a rehearsal.
That's right.
And thank you for using your lunch hour or whatever you have used to come down and talk to us this afternoon. Love it. Love both of you, and best wishes for the run of the play, which is October 13th through November 4th. So we'll see you soon.